Live 5 News starts now with Campaign 2018 election coverage.
Right now, 2 hours left to vote in what's expected to be a record-breaking midterm election. Our team coverage begins right now. We have news crews across the Lowcountry and in the state capitol, keeping a close eye on the polls as many voters now begin to get off work. First, though, we'll send it to Paola Tristan Arruda in Colleton County, where we've received dozens of calls about problems at the polls there. Paola, what's it look like right now?
Well, Bill, right now I'm actually at the Northbridge Elementary School. I've been to 4 different polling locations today, and things are calm and quiet. You can see people actually coming in and out of the building to vote, so there's no hold up. But this morning we actually received calls that people were waiting in long lines and had to use paper ballots to vote. I spoke to the Colleton County Board of Voter Registration, the director of that board, and she told me the reason for this is because they had a seasonal worker that accidentally mislabeled some devices that go into the voting machine. That means all 32 precincts had to use paper ballots to vote until technicians could come and fix the problem.
Each precinct had to use their paper ballots, which they did have, and if they happened to run out of the emergency ones, then they were making changes to the fail-safe provisional ones.
So right now it seems like things are back up and running, which means that if you want to come vote, this is the time to do it. There aren't any lines, especially here at Northbridge Elementary. People are coming in and out. There's no holdup at all. And we're told that all but one of the precincts are back to using the electronic voting machines. Live in Colleton County, I'm Paola Tristan Arruda, Live 5 News.
All right, Paola, thanks so much. But long lines have been reported across the Lowcountry, including in Berkeley County. Voters there have reported waiting nearly 2 hours or longer to cast their ballots. Alexis Simmons live at Goose Creek High right now. Alexis, now that people are getting off work, how are the lines looking out there where you are?
Bill, the lines are growing, but a long line doesn't necessarily mean a long wait time. I just talked with a man who got out of line, and he said that it took him about 15 minutes to vote. You can see the line stretching behind me here, but it is moving along very well. I talked with Berkeley County officials, and they tell me that they haven't had any major issues in the county. Now, some voting machines did go down, but they were able to get most of them back up and running. They have technicians that are all over the county making sure that those machines are working. I've been talking with people who are voting today, and here is what one man had to say about coming out to vote.
If you don't vote, you don't get to exercise your right, and you don't have any reason to complain when something don't go your way. My civic right, something I fought for, something I believe in.
And of course, polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight. All you have to do is be in line by 7 o'clock in order to vote. I also talked with an 18-year-old. He is voting for the very first time. He was so excited to be able to cast his ballot. I'll be live out here at Goose Creek High School with more updates on the lines. I'm live in Goose Creek. Alexis Simmons, Live 5 News.
All right, Alexis, thanks so much. Right now in Charleston County, lines at usually busy polling places seem to be quieting down somewhat. Harv Jacobs live at the National Guard Armory in Mount Pleasant, one of the busiest voting places in that town. Harv, it doesn't look too bad where you are right now.
Bill, outside the line is very short. Let me show you what's going on inside. It's not too bad here. Here are folks in line, dozens of folks. You see the line is moving very well. It looks like they have 10 or 12 voting machines in here. Of course, there are several precincts based in one place, so just because it's one polling place doesn't mean it's only one precinct. Folks here told me they're waiting about 20 minutes to vote, which is not bad at all, especially this time of day. I talked to a gentleman who just moved here from Sacramento, California, and he had a very interesting Election Day story to tell me.
100 years ago this year, my great-grandmother marched with suffragettes and Katharine Hepburn's mother to get the right for women to vote. And she used to just have one bit of advice, 7 words. If you don't vote, you can't complain.
You heard what the guy said. If you don't vote, you can't complain. I think the guy's certainly right. If you're in line at 7 o'clock here, you'll still get to vote. I should say, first district congressional candidate, the Democrat Joe Cunningham, was here a little while ago greeting voters. I'm told Katie Arrington also will be here in a little while. And coming up new at 6, I'll have a live report from Katie Arrington's watch party, and I will be there all night in what should be a very, very interesting race. Live in Mount Pleasant, Harv Jacobs, Live 5 News.
Right now, many voters getting off work and heading to the polls. A live look above Charleston Harbor where some clouds are starting to gather. You still see some blue, though. We want to give you the first alert to a chance of rain going into the evening hours. Our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh, joins us now. Bill, should voters be prepared to have to wait in the rain tonight?
It doesn't look like. I mean, there's going to be a couple of showers. They're going to be mostly, scattered about. But again, because 7 o'clock's the cutoff as far as, when the polls close, this shower activity is just going to be squeezing east. We'll keep an eye on that. But it's been a warm election, probably one of the warmest in a long time.
Wow.
Let me show you in the big picture right now, in the big map. You can see a couple of showers if you're going out to vote over the next couple hours, mostly right along the I-95 corridor. We're continuing to watch them back on up toward, say, the Manning area, just to the east of that, up toward Holly Hill, even on up toward 521. Seen some showers back. That just moved through St. George. And then back this way, a couple of thunderstorms just southwest of Allendale. I don't expect any severe weather at this point. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that. But bottom line, if you are heading out here over the next couple hours, we'll keep a slight chance in there by, say, right now we're in the mid-70s, 6 o'clock, 75, 73 at 7 o'clock. And again, we can't rule out a couple of showers here and there as we make our way on into the evening hours. Now, coming up for us right here in about 7 minutes, we are talking about some midweek rain chances. Stick around for that. That's all live right here in just a couple of minutes. What about that drive out there? Traffic has been picking up all afternoon. Danielle Prince watching for us. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, so right now we're still seeing lots of green here on our traffic flow map, but of course those typical slowdowns, I-26 westbound approaching the merge as well as on top of the Don Holt Bridge. So give yourself some extra time there. But as far as the Drayton Hall area, if you're heading out to vote in that spot, things are actually looking rather clear there. But 526 westbound, really from the top of the Don Holt Bridge right on over to the Rivers Avenue exit, seeing some moderate speeds throughout that spot. Then zooming on back, we did have one stalled vehicle reported near exit 24 River Landing Drive on 526 eastbound, but that has been cleared. Everything on Daniel Island is looking clear right now as far as 526. But check this out. This is a live look here. Heading to the top of the Don Holt Bridge, that westbound side, you can see traffic there is bumper to bumper. As far as your drive times for 526, about a 30-minute commute to get from Mount Pleasant to the West Ashley area. Drive safely.
In Columbia, the two men vying to be our next governor are waiting for the polls to close and the results to come in. Governor Henry McMaster seeking to be elected for his first full-time term as governor, and current state representative James Smith of Richland County hoping to take that seat away from him. Our news crews in Columbia right now tracking this race. Brad Stryker at the watch party for Democrat Smith. But first, we'll send it to Ann McGill, who's covering Governor McMaster. Ann?
Bill, I'm standing outside of the Hilton Hotel where the Governor McMaster camp is setting up for what they hope will be a victory celebration. Now, we're outside because they're about to do a security sweep in that room. As a matter of fact, the K-9 units that will likely be a part of that just walked past us behind my photographer, and they're headed that way into the hotel. So that's why for now we're standing outside. Governor McMaster, though, as Bill said, is hoping for his first full term, and he's touting what he has accomplished in the 2 years since he took over for Nikki Haley. He says that his administration has created 24,000 jobs across the state with a 3.3% unemployment rate, meaning that more South Carolinians than ever are now working. And he's hoping that with numbers like that, voters will want to give him a chance to be a full-term governor, and he's hoping that when the count is finished tonight, it will reflect that. Once we get inside, we'll try to talk to some folks, see what's going to be happening, but we'll continue to keep an eye on the party here in South Carolina for Governor Henry McMaster as he hopes to win a full term tonight. Live in Columbia, I'm Ann McGill, Live 5 News.
All right, Ann, thanks so much. The Democrat running against Henry McMaster for governor of South Carolina, also in Columbia right now. Brad Stryker at that watch party. Brad, you've been following the campaign of James Smith, and you interviewed him this weekend. What is he saying going into this election?
Well, he told me that his hopes are high, but he's also feeling very confident walking into tonight. He says that there are a couple reasons for that, but primarily because of something that we have been talking about a lot. That's the record number of absentee votes that we saw in South Carolina. He says that that's a big indication for him that the people of South Carolina are looking for a change. Now, he and his running mate have a campaign that they're saying is very different than the ideas that Henry McMaster is running on. The big things that James Smith is focusing on, he wants to improve the quality of education here in South Carolina. He says that he also wants to make health care more affordable for everyone throughout the state. And he also has a couple of different issues that he's focusing on. One in particular in Charleston that's of great interest to us is looking at the environment. He says that he wants to prevent offshore drilling, something that's obviously been a hot topic for us for the past several months, if not several years. Now, James Smith and his running mate do face a challenge running as Democratic candidates in a state that is widely known for voting Republican, but they told me that they're confident with their chances tonight because, like I said, they're hoping that the people of South Carolina are looking for a little bit of a change. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Brad Stryker, Live 5 News.
All right, Brad, thanks so much. And coming up, folks, in the next 5 minutes, we will dig into the latest polls between Smith and McMaster. What it shows about these two candidates for governor just may shock you. Regardless of who wins in today's elections, voter turnout likely to smash all the records. CBS News reporting early voter turnout in 27 states has surpassed all of the early votes in the 2014 midterm elections. CBS analysts predict the voter participation rate in this election could be 45 up to 50%. The last time it exceeded 50% was in 1914. Still ahead on Live 5 News at 5, concerns over election security plaguing the midterms. What measures are in place to make sure your vote counts?
11 candidates vying for 4 Charleston County School Board seats. I break down who's running next.
And this is just into the first alert desk. That student who allegedly brought a loaded gun to Stratford High School last month has just been caught. It was back on October 16th. Police say a 16-year-old had a loaded gun in his backpack. When confronted, they say he ran away from the school. Hasn't been seen since. That teen, though, did not make any sort of threats to the school. He was arrested today by Goose Creek Police. He'll be charged with weapons violation. Then he'll be turned over to the Department of Juvenile Justice. That's the latest from the first alert desk.
Right now, another big race across the Lowcountry. Who will fill the seats for the Charleston County School Board? Colby Satterfield joins us from the Charleston County School Board offices in downtown Charleston. Colby?
Bill, there are 11 people running for the Charleston County School Board with only 4 seats to fill. But that's broken up into 3 regional areas. For east of the Cooper, there are 2 seats to be filled. Running for those seats are incumbent Kate Darby, Joyce Green, Sarah Shad Johnson, and Jake Rambo. For the north area, there's 1 seat to fill and 3 people running. Incumbent Sydney Coates, Linda Lucas, and Vivian Shepard Pettigrew. And for the West Ashley area, there are 4 candidates vying for 1 seat. Incumbent Eric Mack, Francis Baylott, Herbert Fielding, and Paul Padron. Incumbent Aaron Mack was first elected to the board in 2010, and his priorities are closing the achievement gap and increasing teacher development. Paul Padron is a former CCSD principal who just retired. He's focusing on giving students what they need to succeed. And Francis Marion Baylott is also vying for that 1 seat. He's focusing on CCSD needing more responsibility when it comes to finances. And the last candidate running for this area is Herbert Fielding. He says he wants to create opportunities for kids to succeed. Now, coming up on Live 5 News at 6, I will break down those other candidates for you. We'll have that at 6. I'm live in downtown Charleston. Colby Satterfield, Live 5 News.
Right now in Columbia, the 2 men hoping to be governor eagerly awaiting the polls to close. This video shows both Democratic candidate James Smith and Republican candidate Governor Henry McMaster casting their ballots this morning. Right now, still nearly 2 hours left to vote, and a quick look at the polls shows some really good news for Governor McMaster. The latest numbers from the Trafalgar survey show this. Nearly half the state supports Governor McMaster. Mr. Smith trailing 14 points behind. And listen to this, nearly 8% of the state says they don't know whom they're voting for. In South Carolina, if the difference in the final vote count is 1% or less, a recount is mandatory.
Now, your first alert forecast from Live 5 News.
Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh. Yeah, we are watching the election weather for you if you're going out for the next few hours. Just a couple of isolated areas of showers we're going to show you right now. Hour by hour, this is the deal. We're going to keep the chance at about 20% through 6 o'clock, 75, 7 o'clock, 73, 8 o'clock, 72, 9, 10 o'clock in the low 70s. And again, just kind of mild and muggy as we make our way on into our evening hours. Let me show you the radars. The low country most powerful live radar. First alert, Super Doppler Max. Joey was talking about showers pushing through during the afternoon, and that's, you know, what we are watching right now. Let me zoom in. This one area we're watching now, pushing out of Lake Marion, heading over toward Lake Moultrie. A couple of showers, might be an isolated thunderstorm, nothing severe by any means, but we'll tap right there and track that. And again, as it pushes off to the east-northeast, if you're up in Pineville, you're probably going to see some rain here in the next few minutes at about 5:17, St. Stephen at about 5:38, Monk's Corner about 5:50. So if you are across the Lakes Cross, back on over toward Cherry Hill, on up toward Pineville, be on the lookout for these rain showers as they push toward the north and east. And back over to Walterboro, a couple of showers out that way. The heaviest stuff, though, well back to the west, up toward Barnwell and on up toward Allendale. But really, that's about it. Otherwise, mild and muggy. There's a live picture right now from our Charleston Harbor Fish House Sky Cam, sitting at 78. Look at the high today. How's 85? 85. Is it November? Look at that. That is definitely warm. 81% humidity. We've got a south to southwest wind at about 9 miles an hour. Let's go out to Monk's Corner right now. 77 degrees out in the heart of Berkeley County. As we look back over toward Manning at 70, Kingstree 74, 77 up in Georgetown, 78, Somerville 79, Walterboro still some 70s down along the coast. In fact, at the edge of America, Folly Beach. Right now it's 75. As we look at the weather map, we've got this old boundary right here. Our next weather maker is this cold front diving to the south and east. So for tonight, tomorrow, and right into the next couple of days, this is our next front, bringing us some midweek showers. It's going to love South Carolina, get stuck here probably until late Friday, until another front comes along and gets rid of it. So bottom line is we look hour by hour. We have Future Tracker to show you what to expect. Here we are, 5 o'clock. Put the clock into motion between now and 11. Might see a couple of showers push on through. There's 11 o'clock, maybe a little patchy fog later on. And then by 6 o'clock in the morning, out the door early, still some clouds. Again, not going to rule out a shower. So again, Joey's here early. He'll have an update with that, with Abby O'Brien's traffic. I'll put the clock into motion as we make our way through the lunch hour, mostly cloudy. And even after work and school tomorrow, still a couple of pop-up showers. So as we watch your next 24 hours, always, we are keeping some showers in our forecast as we head into the evening hours. Overnight, some fog, about a 40% for tomorrow. And again, that's a pretty elevated chance. We'll keep that temperature in the mid-70s, it looks like, for tomorrow. On the waters, winds out of the east at about 5 to 10. High tide in the morning, low tide after lunch. And again, mostly cloudy with a few pop-up showers. We always start with your weekend first. So let's talk about your Friday. 71, we got that 40% chance. Again, Saturday, only in the morning a shower, otherwise clearing out 68. A lot going on Sunday, big steeplechase race, a lot of weddings this weekend, all kinds of cool stuff. 65 Sunday, so a little bit cooler for Sunday. And once again, if you are heading out this evening for the election day, our app's still showing a couple of showers possible through 5, 6, 7 o'clock. And again, these mid-80s continue. And then as we deep dive into the 7-day forecast, there it is as we head for Wednesday, 40%, 60%. Thursday, we talked about Friday and the weekend. Veterans Day on Sunday looks good. Into the beginning part of next week might still be a little bit wet. What about that drive? We're watching that as well. It's been pretty busy out there. Danielle Prince, how are we looking now?
Hey, Bill. So right now we're starting off with this live look here out at the merge I-26 westbound. You can see that traffic coming from 526. It is bumper to bumper there. Typical, though, for this time of the day. Live look here out at 526. As you can see that westbound side, still seeing some of those brake lights here in the shot, but not as bad as what it was about 30 minutes ago. Still lots of green here out on our traffic flow map. And if you are heading out to vote, this is the Drayton Hall Elementary area. Bees Ferry seeing some slower traffic on there, but as far as Ashley River Road looking great right now. Slower speeds coming from 526 getting onto I-26 westbound, and of course Clemens Ferry Road to and from 526 are looking a bit slow right now as well. Drive safely.
With millions of Americans heading to the polls today, election security is a top concern after Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. The government says it is on high alert for anything suspicious. Meg Oliver explains.
This is the first nationwide voting since Russia targeted the last U.S. presidential election, and millions of Americans are making their voices heard.
I'm hoping that even my little vote can help make some change.
The Department of Homeland Security says it's been working behind the scenes to protect this midterm election from foreign interference. In addition to blocking foreign influence, the Homeland Security Office is responsible for election security closer to home. That includes protecting voter registration files, election results, and polling places.
There's a steady flow of voters here in New York City. New York is one of 19 states where the Justice Department deployed monitors from the Civil Rights Division to make sure voting laws are upheld.
Throughout those states, 35 precincts are under watch to make sure all citizens have access to the ballot. Monitors are looking for signs of discrimination or intimidation. The nonpartisan Election Protection Group is making sure voters are heard in states not covered by all the provisions in the Voting Rights Act.
Officials are very, very comfortable pursuing discriminatory voting changes, knowing that the only recourse will be organizations like ours standing up and pushing back in the courts.
Security officials point out they've had 2 years to get ready for this day. They're hoping problems are limited to long lines and isolated technical glitches. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead, do you have questions before you cast your ballot? We'll tell you whom to call to find the answers.